What's up guys, Digga here from ProNDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. Today I'm going to show you the Magicka Sorcerer build for champion point campaigns. I've already uploaded a non-CP Magicka Sorcerer build, and people asked me like, how would you play in a champion point campaign? Like, I addressed champion points in that video too. I didn't say like how many points you should put in there because I didn't play in Cyrodiil in champion point campaigns for a while. But I've started to play champion point campaigns again, so I will cover CP here as well. I tried to make this a little bit shorter than my usual videos, so I already recorded the German version and it became longer because I still explained a little bit more. I will show you different versions of this setup, like you can play it with different foods and get different stats that might suit your playstyle a little bit better, but it's like completely up to you. And one of the sets, I'm not sure if I already mentioned, like, will get nerfed in Horns of the Reach. You will be able to play this setup in Horns of the Reach. However, you can replace it with another set and it's still extremely effective. So let's hop right into stats. So this is how I currently play it. So I have 2.4 Magicka Recovery unbuffed, 1.3k Stamina Recovery unbuffed, 38k Magicka, 16.5k health with outside of Cyrodiil, so it's like 21.5k in Cyrodiil, 13.8k max stam, so it's a little bit less than with maxed out food. I'm using Witch Mother's Potent Brew, so I get max health, max Magicka, and Magicka Recovery. No stamina, so we're getting this from another set and from prismatic glyphs, but I will show you that when I talk about gear. 2k spell damage unbuffed, 35% spell crit chance, and 1.5k crit resistance, which is pretty good. I'm a Breton, so if you are high elf, you have a little bit more Magicka Recovery, or you can go for around the same recovery and get one more glyph that you can put into damage. But I prefer to have a little bit more tankiness, so Breton is my preferred choice for a Magicka Sorcerer in PvP only PvP. I am a vampire, so with stage 2 from the passives I get 10% more Magicka and Stamina Recovery, and I get the undead passive, which is also pretty nice, and have 20k spell resistance unbuffed. That's huge. That's a lot. Like, I'm wearing 5 light, 1 heavy, 1 medium. So yeah, that's unbuffed stats. Buffed, we're sitting at 2.4k here. I need to find an opponent that I can attack. So, well, the glyph didn't even trigger. Okay, 2.9k buffed with the glyph on my front bar. I'm just hoping that it loses aggro. Yeah. So, 2.9k on the front bar, 2.4, almost 2.5k regularly buffed. And with the tri-stat potion, so I'm sitting at 2.7k Magicka Recovery, 1.5k Stam Recovery. That's a lot, like really a lot. I have a little bit more max Magicka on the front bar because I currently have Meteor slotted, but you can switch that around. I will talk about that when I talk about skills. So for the gear, you might have already guessed it because I have such high Stamina Recovery. I'm using 5 pieces of Amber Plasm, Purple Jewelry, 2 spell damage, 1 Magicka Recovery, and giving us Magicka, spell crit, spell damage, and Stamina and Magicka Recovery. The last piece will get nerfed next patch, so it's like 300 if you have it in gold. You cannot get gold jewelry. It's all purple, and you only get that from the last boss in Ruins of Mazatoon. You need to farm Ruins of Mazatoon on Veteran. I know a lot of people still struggle with that dungeon, but it's actually not that hard if you have a good group. Yeah, just ask them if they can trade the jewelry pieces for you, if that drops for them. If you have kind people, they will just give it to you. So we have 2 body pieces of Amber Plasm. We have infused on the big pieces, impen on the small pieces, and like it's 300 if it's all legendary. Next patch it only will 250 if it's all legendary, so you will get 50 less Magicka and Stamina Recovery. Your stats will be slightly lower, like about 100. Just like don't take away like just 50 recovery. We have passives and champion points that we put in there, so it's a little bit more than 50 recovery that we lose. But it's still plenty, and you should still be able to play that build in Horns of the Reach. The other set that we use, the other 5-piece set, is a craftable one, and that's the Shacklebreaker set. So Shacklebreaker gives us weapon spell damage, Magicka and stamina recovery, and max stamina and max Magicka. So we get 2000 max stam from this set. And we don't use, or I personally don't use, the purple max stat food. Like, I prefer to have a little bit more Magicka recovery. My max Magicka is a little bit lower because of that, but that's not a big deal. So we get like, for Witch Mothers, we have like 3.2k max Magicka and 3.5k health, but 390 Magicka recovery. And here we get 4.1k max Magicka. So we lose out on a little bit Magicka, actually like 900 Magicka. However, our health is lower because we have less health here, about 900 less health. So we get 2 prismatic enchantments on the infused pieces. So we get maximum Magicka, health, and stamina from these enchantments. This is pretty good actually, and that's why our Magicka drops a little bit more than just 900. To compensate a little bit for that, we have one Alambrus piece giving us max Magicka. So we have one monster set piece, and this is medium, this is heavy for the Undaunted passives, and then 5 light. All Magicka enchanted, except for the 2 big pieces here. You don't need all 3 of the big pieces enchanted with the tri-set enchantments. You know, like otherwise your Magicka drops a little bit too low, and you like 13.8k stam is more than enough. Especially with like 1.3k stamina base recovery. You could go for more stamina recovery if you had the Serpent Wonderstone, but I do not like really recommend it. It's not needed if you go with tri-stat potions, which are these ones that restore health, Magicka, and stamina. For the weapons, we have an Inferno Staff and Sharpen on the front bar, and Restoration Staff and Defending on the back bar. I decided to go with a weapon damage enchantment on the front bar to get that stat boost. If you want to play, if you want to get the maximum damage out of it, put this enchantment on the Restoration Staff and get an Oblivion damage enchantment from the front bar. Debaster, okay, here's the Debaster. This one has an Oblivion damage enchantment. What's really strong about this enchantment is that it does not get mitigated by like the Cyrodiil debuff. Like in Cyrodiil, you get 50% less damage, but your healing is also reduced by 50% and so on. You all guys know that, but in return you get 5k more health. So this enchantment is really strong because it does not get affected by this debuff. So you get like around 1.9k, or like here in this case like 2.2k Oblivion damage directly on the opponent. It doesn't matter if he's shielded, it goes through the shield. And this makes it really strong, and it will be really annoying. So the trade you might want to use on your off or main bar, it's up to you, would be infused to make this enchantment stronger. What I recommend, like, because Sharpened gets reduced by almost 50% next patch, go with infused, get some more penetration from your champion points, and put an Oblivion enchantment on the front bar because it has a lower cooldown and it's stronger, and you will end up with more burst. However, like, it's not like cheese, but all the people running around with it, and it's really annoying. If you play small scale a lot and people use that enchantment on you in a larger group than you, like if you're outnumbered and the people all attack you at once, like 5 people, it's like 10k just from these enchantments. And there's been so many times where in my death recap it's all been the Oblivion enchantment, like damage health enchantment. That should be in the death recap if I remember correctly. And this is personally a little bit annoying, but if you want to use it, go ahead and do it. Totally up to you. I personally myself went with the weapon damage enchantment on the front bar, and I don't have any enchantment on the back bar. I'm just going with a regular damage poison. I also am against cost increase poisons. Even if they got reduced, it's still a lot. Like in Morrowind, you really feel if someone put cost increase poison on you, and you have to cast like abilities every second, especially like streak and shielding. it's already really expensive because sustain got nerfed, and the streak nerf that got introduced like, I don't know, 1.5 years ago. You really feel it this patch. Really feel it. Like if you have to streak multiple times, yeah, you will see your Magicka drop pretty quickly. That's why I'm going for a lot of Magicka recovery, because I don't really like to play with dark conversion. But I will get to that in a couple of seconds when I talk about skill. So yeah, so Shackle Breaker, Staves, Alambris, 5-piece Emerald Plasm. Next patch, if you don't want to go with Emerald Plasm because it gets nerfed, what you could do is go either with a Serpent Mana Stone or put one glyph to stamina recovery and stick with the Atro. That's probably what I will do. Just go one stamina recovery glyph and go stick with the Atro, and then use the Lich set. But most of the people know the Lich set. Like this is jewelry. You get it in Crypt of Hearts 1 and 2. The jewelry, of course, at the final boss, and gives you Magic Recovery, Max Magicka, Magic Recovery, and when you fall below 33% Max Magicka, your recovery gets boosted by about 1,000 for 20 seconds, and this has a 1 minute cooldown. So like you have 20 seconds of increased recovery if it drops below 33%, and a 40-second cooldown after that. And that's insane. Your stats will get boosted to more than like 3.4k magic recovery, which is a lot. Should be, it will not be enough because of the cooldown to be able to sustain without dark conversion. However, like with this setup, I can sustain without dark conversion. However, you have more max magicka and you have more spell damage. If you decide to go with different glyphs and different food and etc. So you have a little bit more damage, but you give up a little bit more sustain. It's up to you. But Lich works really great, as I've heard from Aswava. So he's currently using the same setup, but he is just using Lich instead of Emerald Plasm, and he's really happy because his max stam is really great. So here's how you could play this setup without Witch Mothers. So I need to find my Shackle Breaker stuff. So I need this and this. And I need this. Now your stats look like this. So you still have 1.9k Magicka recovery, but your stam, like a little bit less health, just 400, but your max stam is sitting at almost 17k. This is insane. So what Aswava does is when he goes with full spell damage, he has the Serpent Mana Stone, and he's using Lich. He has, I think, like 1.8k Magicka recovery, but he's a high elf. So in a Breton, here I'd be sitting at, I think, like 1.6k. I'd probably still go with like 2 spell damage and 1 recovery to make up for it. But I'm a little bit tankier than on a high elf. But still, it's a really great setup, and you have a ton of max stamina. And even next patch, it will be more effective. Like next patch, switch out Alambris for the Dummy House set. I'm not sure if I spelled if I pronounced it correctly. I don't even know how to spell it, to be honest. One of the new DLC dungeons. If you have the DLC, get the new monster set, either the helmet or the shoulder. You can farm it, or get it from the new chests. Because the new set will give you max stam and max magic at the same time. So you'll be sitting at like 18,000 max stam and have the same max magicka. And keep in mind, like more max magicka gives you bigger shields, thus more survivability. So yeah, so you have like different options how you can like customize this build. Yeah. Is there a way to play differently? Like you could go, I guess, with like 5 Shackle Breaker on the body, 3 Lich here, 1 Lich piece, 1 monster set, go with the Lich Restoration Staff, and go with the a Maelstrom Inferno Staff. You have one in like Sharpened or Ninhoned. Like next patch, you can even use Ninhoned to get more spell damage that way. Might be valuable. Like if you have Lich Restoration Staff, get Shackle Breaker on the body, put Lich on 1 bar, go with the VMA stuff there. That's also a pretty good option. So much for gear. Let's talk about skills. So for skills, you have also some options. With Crushing Shock here, I like the Interruption Morph because a lot of people use Dark Conversion, and you see like it has 1.2 second cast time, and you can interrupt the people all the time. That's really great to have the option to interrupt them. If they stand next to you, just bash them. Like a lot of people miss the bashes on Dark Conversion, which is like not good. Try to bash them as much as possible. Especially if you have like 17k stamina, just bash them. Then Crystal Fragments, we use it when it procs, like here. You can see my hands glowing. Deals 10% more damage and costs 50% less Magicka. You see like just 1.3k Magicka. And here 3.3k if we don't have them procced. Then we have Haunting Curse, deals damage 2 times. We usually like recast it after it goes off the first time. It doesn't stack, it just like refreshes. However, like if we do that because it's easier to time the burst after like 3.5 seconds, like you want your fragment, your curse, your execute, and maybe your ultimate to hit at the same time. And like if you here on the execute, you have 4 seconds time to get your opponent below 20%, and here like 3.5 seconds to line up your fragments and maybe your Shooting Star or Dawnbreaker or whatever ultimate you use. And that's really great. However, it will explode after an additional 8.5 seconds, so after 12 seconds in total. And that's really great because if someone's pressuring you and you put the curse on them, it will explode like after 3.5 seconds. And maybe you need to like run around the tree shielding and using Dark Conversion, and then your curse will still go off if it does not get cleansed by the opponent, and maybe forcing him to heal because like maybe it crit, so he has to retreat, or like if he's Nightbait Cloak again, and you can use that to buff up again and turn the defensive into an offensive. It's good that it deals damage 2 times. Then execute is just, personally, I think it's too good. Like I won't ever give this up. I played around with Inner Light a couple times. Like you have like 43.7k max Magicka on the front bar if you have Inner Light. But personally, to me, it's just too good. The execute is just too good to give it up. Your other skills will hit harder, of course, but yeah. Then we have Power Surge. So I use Power Surge when I go with the tri-set potions, which are, these ones here. Restore stamina, health, and Magicka, all 3 at the same time, and give us 20% more recovery for all the stats for 47.6 seconds because of the alchemy passive medicinal use. Yeah, so you need to get that to 50 to unlock the level 3 here, and this will increase the potion, potion effects duration. Yeah, so I personally use tri-set potions. However, you could go with Daedric Minefield instead and go with spell power potions. So you cannot buff up because you don't have a skill to buff up, but you could go with these potions, which give you spell power, spell crit rating, so 10% more crit chance, and give you back Magicka. That way your stam recovery will still at 1.3k. So yeah, make sure like if you have like 17k stamina, you won't have any issues with that, to be honest. But sometimes mines are just really good, and at some points, if you don't want to run mines, you could run Boundless Storm. I don't have that leveled. I don't even have the skill point to morph it to boost your resistance stats, so you'd be sitting at like more than 25k, I'm sorry, more than 25k on the back bar for spell resistance, which is really awesome. Like defending gets nerfed next patch, so it's a little bit less, but still, and you'd get a speed buff for a couple seconds, which would also be nice if you don't want to run mines. However, I prefer tri-set potions because I like the extra healing from Power Surge, and I like the health and stamina return from the tri-set potions. Then we have Shooting Star here. Gives us a little bit more max magic because of major skill passives. However, personally I prefer, because it's better burst, Dawnbreaker Smiting. just go with it. You can, it's like cheaper, and you can animation cancel it like with block or with bar swap, so it's really great. Backbar ultimate, Lights Champion from the restoration staff. It's just so fucking OP. Like 85 ultimate is cheap as hell. This should get increased. It's just too cheap. To be honest, like it's too cheap. It's too powerful. Should get a nerf. I'm not sure why ZeniMax is still keeping this way, but maybe it's just too powerful for people that play small scale solo. I don't know. You get heal for 5 seconds. Really good heal, and also you get major protection, major force, so you get 15% more crit damage and 30% more less damage taken. So like if you have like Inlight here or use the spell power potions, this one is not just good for defense but also good for offense, because you will have 48% crit rating on your front bar or like on both bars, and you will have a lot of crit damage, which gets increased by Lights Champion. Then we have our 3 shields: Harness, Magicka, Hardened Board, and Healing Board. Shouldn't really explain anything about that. Like that should be clear for most orcs out there. This is our class shield. It's the cheapest one, and also like really good shield. This one is a little bit more expensive, but it restores Magicka up to 3 times, and the more max Magicka you have, the more Magicka it returns. So like you get more Magicka back if you play with the max stat food, where you have like more than 40k Magicka. Then we have Dark Conversion here. What like my recovery is high enough if I go with Witch Mothers that I do not have to run Dark Conversion. So what I do, if I use Witch Mothers, I just go with Minefield on the back bar. However, in no champion point campaigns, it's impossible to run without Dark Conversion. You need that. And the extra health you get back is also really good. Then we have Streak here. I really like to be able to streak to opponents to stun them if I see them like resting someone, or if I see like a bigger group and I see like, okay, they try and put pressure on me, so I just streak through them and they get stunned, and that gives me time to line of sight like behind trees or rocks. And yeah, or if I'm playing with other people, like to catch up with my group, or if I see people like 3 or 4 people going at a friend, I streak through them to stun them. Really important. And yeah, so that's about it for skills and your options. Let's talk about champion points. So for the green tree, I have 56 in the Warlord for a reduced break free cost, 43 Arcanist and Mooncalf, because like 10% is enough. To put more points into here for potential 5% more recovery is just not worth it, in my opinion. Then we have 12 in the Shadow Ward, because we still block quite often, and 56 points into Stumbling. So you see, like, our champion points are all split to get the most out of our stamina sustain. Because if you don't have stamina to break free, or at some points roll dodge, you are screwed on your sword. You are really screwed. Because like your shields only last 6 seconds. If they drop and you cannot break free, you're done for most of the time. Then we have 40 into Ironclad, 18 into Resistant, 43 into Hardy, 43 into Mental Defender, and 66 into Bastion. Some people might argue like, hey, why don't you put 120 points into here to get the Unchained passive? Well, the thing is, like, Dark Conversion, if I ever run it, like, which I don't do because I usually want Witch Mothers, it only costs 2k stamina. Well, it will basically be free if you put points into here, but personally, like, I haven't felt any like issue with my stamina sustain at all with tripods and like 1.5k buffed stam recovery. It's so much that, and like in my green CP are distributed in a way that I don't need that Unchained passive. If you want to do that, take out points from Bastion. Like, Bastion will still give you, like, even if you like take 34 points out there, will still give you a ton of shield size increase. You could put points more into Hardy Defender and like some into Thick-Skinned maybe to get that Unchained passive, but it's totally up to you. For the blue tree, I currently have 42 Elfborn, 43 into Elemental Expert, 52 into Mastered Arms, and 75 into Spell Erosion. I used to play around with the Nirnhound VMA stuff. However, I still went back to a sharpened one, so you don't really need that 75 points into here. You could put, like, take the points out. I think, like, should be the right amount. Yeah. So 73 would get you like 23%. 72 is not a jump point. You will only get 22% here, so you need those 73. And you still have like more than 4k penetration. However, like next patch, I recommend to put like a ton of points into penetration because sharpened gets nerfed and you want some penetration. So I would just cancel the distribution. Like you get 4% more damage here with your single target skills, but you get a little bit less penetration. So it's up to you. Like this patch, I'll put a few more points here would be better than the 75 points here, but it's up to you how you want to play it. Next patch, I'd probably stick to this champion point layout. But it's just, that's it, guys. Let me get this Ruby Ash. Video got a little bit longer than I intended it to record it, but whatever. I really hope you still enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section down below. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you liked it, and if you don't want to miss any more ESO content, just yeah, hit that sub button. I will be probably uploading this video when I'm on vacation, so it could be like if you have any additional questions that I won't be able to answer within the next couple days, maybe, or even a week, depending on when I will upload this. So I'm sorry, apologizing in advance, but I will answer your questions eventually. So probably the DLC is already out when I can answer the questions, but still, feel free to ask anything, and I hope you enjoyed everything here and hope to see you next time as well. So until then, bye bye.